Welcome to this edition of BSW Tech Dive. I am John Lynch, Director of Business Development for Broadcast Supply Worldwide, BSWUSA.com. Today's topic is ARIA-X from SAS. And to talk with us about the ARIA-X is Daniel Hyatt. And ARIA-X is a new entry in the microphone processing world. And the first thing that stands out to me, Daniel, is well, not only is it digital, but it's half rack size and it's 4 channels. How'd you do all that?
That's right, John. And not only is it 4 channels, it's actually 8 channels because the ARIA-X has analog inputs and outputs, so easy to wire a microphone in or have a convenience output. It also has Dante built in. So if you're bringing a source in from elsewhere, you can still process it in the ARIA-X and then send it back out through Dante. So through Dante, we have 2 channels in and 2 channels out. And through the analog side, we have 2 channels in, 2 channels out. And then you say, what about those others? There's a USB-C connection on the back of the device that allows us to provide computer audio input or computer audio output. So all of that in a half rack width.
Yeah, we're only talking that big. What's going
Small,
on here?
tiny, tiny. I've got one right here. Look how small this is.
4 channels of microphone processing and the other you talk about going into Dante. And by the way, for some people, claim me as one of these some people, Dante can be kind of confusing. Is it?
No, not at all. In fact, it's the most widely used audio over IP type in the entire world. To access Dante on a computer, it's easy. There's a Dante virtual sound card driver. You download it, you put it on the computer, and it's up and going in about 10 seconds. And then there's a free Dante configuration software called Dante Controller that automatically recognizes all Dante devices.
I need that.
We make it easy for people like you, John. Make it easy.
Now, 4 channels in a half rack size, but can I fit it into a rack?
Oh, absolutely. So the width is a half rack width. The height is a single rack width. So you can put it in any rack. You still have lots of breathing room there. And I'll note if you're talking about wiring and you want to make it easy, this device, the ARIA-X, can run off of power over Ethernet. So a single network cable that's got PoE from a switch can drive it. Or you can utilize the included power adapter and you can power it that way. Or you can use both. So you've got redundant power.
Okay, now when we're dealing with microphone processing, I'm on one microphone, you're on another. Other people are using, all kinds of different microphones are being used. Does ARIA-X adapt to that?
Oh, absolutely. So you've got a whole array of configuration: compressor, limiter, gate, AGC, downward expander, parametric equalizer, third octave equalizer, and you can choose to use none, all, or a mixture of whatever you'd like. Now, where it comes into play and works with other microphones is the ARIA-X has auto mixing capability. So it can detect microphones that are working in conjunction with each other. Or if you're in a setting where maybe you have a talk studio and you'd like things to blend a little easier, take some of that demand off of the board op, you can run the auto mix feature and everything will run seamlessly together.
Let's ask something slightly different, but maybe it's on the same page. Okay, I've got a talk show studio. I've got 4 microphones there. My history says I should have all 4 of the same microphone there, but it sounds like in what you're talking about here, not necessarily.
No, you may have totally different physical microphones. I've gone into studios where somebody may have an SM7B for the host. Other folks in the studio have an RE20 or an RE320. And on top of that, everybody needs their own configuration. So the ARIA-X is completely adaptable to all microphone types, whether it's a dynamic microphone and you're simply plugging in, or like I have here, a condenser microphone where you need phantom power, and then individual configuration options for every single microphone.
Can I save configurations for a certain talent? And when they come back 6 months later, I still have it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can save it. And then if you decide to deploy the ARIA-X across multiple studios or many geographical locations, you can then share those presets with anybody you'd like.
But for somebody like me, and you know me, the old sportscaster here, can I work it or do I need to bring an engineer to get everything dialed in?
Super easy. It's got its own GUI. double click, pops up and says, hey, I'm the ARIA-X. Or if you have multiple ARIA-X, you can label each of them with Studio A, Studio B, hey, studio in another town. You double click, you bring it up. And then for each of the configuration types you like, whether that's an equalizer, a compressor, a downward expander, and so forth, you can double click on the type and it's got easy to understand language on it. The controls were designed to be easy on the eyes. So that's important. We like things that look cool, but we also like things that are easy to use, whether you're the classic sportscaster or you're the new and improved super tech divey type of person. It works for everybody.
Nobody's accused me of being the super new and improved anything for a long time. So, but if you say I could work it, that says a lot right there.
You know, one thing that we really find important and that we carry through in our designs at SAS is we like to say, can somebody learn this in an effective manner in 15 minutes or less? And that means, John, I can bring you in, I can sit you down and we can do it remotely, or you can simply read the instructions, or somebody can teach you in person. But in 15 minutes, we can dial you into where you're a solid pro and you can make things sound good and you're comfortable and you're not having to call the engineer for support.
You make it sound like Professor Harold Hill and Marion the Librarian, and he says 15 minutes.
Well, that's just it. Time our watch, 15 minutes.
Yep.
We get you up and going. And you know what? That leaves you more time to prep for the show. That leaves you more time to work on other things. And that takes all the stress off your back.
Now, from a microphone processing standpoint, can somebody dial it in and they think it's right and somebody else hears it and says, no, that's not going to work at all? I've heard that happen. I don't know of the case.
Sure. Everybody's got a different ear, if you will. Some of us are half deaf. Others of us prefer something that's got a little more bass or a little more treble. I don't know what you are, John. I'm certainly the one that's probably half deaf.
But it can be adaptable. So can you do it by ear, or do you have to do it with some other equipment to really dial things in?
Oh, you can absolutely do it by ear. In fact, the microphone you hear me talking on right now, I simply said it. I pulled up Adobe Audition, which we use in a lot of radio stations, and I hit record, talked into it, made some adjustments, listened on my headphones. Separately, I unplugged my headphones afterward and hit the play button, and I was able to hear the configuration changes. So very easy.
ARIA-X, now, okay, it's not taking up a big footprint or anything. You can plug in 4 microphones, for example, and, from a pricing standpoint on a per mic channel, it's really competitive.
Yeah. The BSW price, if you check it out, John, and you can elaborate more on that, but it's so competitive. If you take the analog equivalent 4 mic channels, you're at about the same price. And this is something that's dynamic enough. You can log in from anywhere. You can make those adjustments. You can save the adjustments, customize them. And it even has a built-in cross-point mixer. What does that mean? It means we can go in as simple as a single click on the screen and we can tell the audio, okay, now come out an analog output path. Now I'd like you to also come out a Dante path. I'd also like you to go into the computer via the USB-C, all with a single click of a mouse. So gone are the days of having to spray different WD-40 and elements into a knob to try to keep the scratchiness from coming out, and trying to put a little bit of a marker on the faceplate to try to make sure everything's perfectly configured. And also with old analog devices, you're at the whim of different components going bad or partially going bad. And now everything sounds different. Here we can save a preset. It sounds the same as the last time you pulled it up. It'll sound the same in the next ARIA-X and the next studio down the hallway. And again, making life easy peasy from a practical standpoint.
Now, I want to go back to a point you made earlier in the program just to see if I understood it correctly. And that is, okay, I can use this for 4 microphones. I got the impression that I could do more than that while I'm using those 4 microphones.
That's right. So let's talk about the inputs and the outputs. So there are physically 4 analog inputs. That's where you can wire a microphone in for each of those. So it can handle 4 physical microphones wired in with a preamp, with phantom power if you need it. In addition to those inputs, there's also the Dante capability. So the ARIA-X is not just a microphone preamp. It's not just a processor for those inputs with the microphones, but let's say you have a Dante source elsewhere. Could be a microphone, maybe it's a telephone line or a codec. You can route that in through Dante. That goes right back to easy, click to make that work. And then you can process that feed. So you've got 4 analog physical inputs. You have 4 Dante inputs that you can configure customizably. And you also have the USB-C connection from the back of the ARIA-X into any computer that will provide a stereo input and a stereo output that can also be routed and processed individually. So really you have a larger scale matrix router with a lot of additional capabilities that go beyond just the preamplification of 4 microphones.
A lot going on, but like they said back in some of the cartoon days, eensy weensy living space. I mean, you piled a lot in there, Daniel.
Tiny and easy to configure. And here's the important thing, John. You mentioned, hey, it could be a challenger. Some of us have a different learning curve than others. Look, we're not obligating to use every feature. Sometimes it's nice to continue finding additional features and the scalability. So you can simply wire one microphone in, do a simple adjustment, have that pass through to your board, your Dante network. Dante is also configurable with AES67. So if you have AES67 devices, you can pass it through to that network as well. But we make it easy to go from one to many. So, hey, look, nothing wrong with diving in and just putting your toes in the water to test out the temperature.
Have to do that. Good tip and good information. Really appreciate it. Daniel Hyatt's been our guest. Our topic has been the new SAS ARIA-X microphone and more processor. ARIA-X, you can see it on the BSW website, www.bswusa.com. Great value, great performance, ARIA-X from SAS. Daniel, thank you very much for the visit. I'm John Lynch, BSW Tech Dive, Senior Director of Business Development. We'll see you next time.